All right, we're here with a couple of authors, Caroline Lee and Kirsten Osbourne. Also, Michelle Dalton, the business partner with Barr26 Publishing, LLC. How are you all?
Good.
Doing good.
Doing great. Thank you.
And Happy New Year, by the way. It's January 4th as of this recording.
Happy New Year
Happy
to you
New
too.
Year.
So, you were one of the first authors that we partnered with when we got started last year.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
yeah, I know it was exciting, and we hardly knew what we were getting into ourselves, but it's been a lot of fun. So, Michelle, why don't you start us off with the background on kind of the series that they've been doing and what they're doing now?
All right. Well, and those are questions I'm going to pop right back to you ladies. But, I think first things first, as we were starting the call, it's just amazing how prolific each of you are in your story writing. And so maybe if we start with Kirsten, just kind of tell us where you're at today. I mean, what did you say, 330 some odd books you've written so far?
No, only
230.
Yeah.
And Carolyn, I think I just saw you put up number 100, right?
Yes, it was very exciting. Last month, I'm sorry, well, it was last month, but it was also last week. Last year was at the end of December was my 100th book, although I didn't figure that out until after it had released, and I went back and I started counting. So yes, I was very excited, and it's made a nice splash in the Victorian romance world, so I'm pleased with that.
I saw a lot of little orange flags flying over that book cover.
Yes, I am delighted. It is a Scottish Victorian. So Kirsten and I met each other when we were both writing historical Western, which is also set in the same time period as a Victorian era book, but of course it takes place in the American West, where Queen Victoria wasn't particularly relevant. So we don't call it a Victorian book, although it's the same time period. And then I branched off and I started writing medieval Scottish books, and I still do write those. I do, back and forth between medieval and Victorian, but I was really excited to be able to go back to the 1880s, just in a different setting. So I guess it's almost full circle that I'm kind of back to the time period where I originally got to hang out personally. I'm now on a different continent.
Cool. Well, and I think, Kirsten, didn't I just see that you've kind of joined in that Highlander romance? You got a new series coming out with somebody in kilts, I think.
It's not new. It's been out for 2 years.
Holy smokes. And how did I not know that?
I don't know, maybe 3 years. No, it's 3 years.
Whoa. Okay.
That's the one with the really hot guy on the cover, right?
Yeah.
It's a tie-in. It's a tie-in to one of your other series, right? The medieval one, right? The McLean.
Yes, but all of my series are tied.
Oh yeah, well, that's a silly question. Of course, it was a tie-in. Of course.
Okay, so Kirsten, I have to laugh at this because I was trying to explain to somebody the other day about how a lot of characters tie in for a lot of people. I think I was referencing maybe a Kit Morgan book or something, but it just brought to mind again the whole Bob thing. And so poor Rick is not left out of the whole Bob thing. Can you please tell us about Bob and why we always have Bob in Kirsten Osbourne books?
So it started with Brides of Beckham, because that's what I'm best known for. And if you abbreviate Brides of Beckham, you get Bob. So now I put a Bob in every book because you have to celebrate Bob. Name is the same forward and backward.
Wait a minute. Has Rick been narrating these books and he's just sitting here thinking, gosh, this woman sure does love the name Bob.
Exactly. No.
I hadn't recorded.
You didn't really?
I hadn't done enough of the books to really know. So yeah, that was another thing.
I have to say, my sister is not a fan of my love of Bob because her ex is Bob.
Oh no.
Oh, well.
Oh no.
Hey,
Well, and if I'm not totally crazy, Bob as Chicken Bob has appeared in multiple series because Queen Kirsten has Bob everywhere. And so now it's kind of like a standing thing in several series. What was the other one? Cowboys and Angels. Isn't that where Bob is a chicken?
oh yes, yes. I
So,
forgot about that. Yes.
Oh, so he's not always a person. Gotcha.
no, this chicken is
no.
crazy.
I think he's a
And
rooster.
sometimes it's
A
a girl,
rooster.
like sometimes it's just something has to be named Bob or Robert or some version of Roberta or something like that.
There was one series I was writing with Caroline, and I cannot remember what it was called. I don't remember which series because we've written a bunch together, but she snuck in a Bobby before I could put a Bob in.
I did it on purpose.
I know you did.
Uh, you know, I love listening to you guys.
I
You really
totally
do need
forgot
to hear
that.
how
Oh my
we met.
goodness.
Okay, so you guys have to tell us exactly how did you two meet? And I mean, you've got this amazing relationship going. You've written so many series together. How did this happen?
Okay, I'm gonna tell the lead. Okay? And then you tell the actual meeting.
Okay.
Deal, Kirsten? Okay, so
Got it.
here I am, this complete newbie in the genre. I had published at that point maybe 10 historical westerns. No, maybe not even that. I was nervous, but I had
And I
been
was at,
invited
like,
to join the
150.
Pioneer Hearts. Yes, I had been invited to join the Pioneer Hearts group, and I joined the group, and I got to meet all of these other authors in the genre. It was amazing. And meanwhile, I sort of tangentially met online the queen of historical westerns, Kirsten Osbourne. Oh, that's amazing! Oh, you got her! Oh, like, and it's kind of like a really hero worship. But it was like, ooh, can I talk to her? Like, really? Is that going to be okay? And she announced that she was going to be at this particular conference in Chicago, and a bunch of other historical Western authors announced was also going to be at that conference in Chicago. And I said, by golly, I'm going to get myself to that conference in Chicago so that I can meet these people in real life. And I did. Last minute, I was able to get a ticket. I got a flight into Chicago super cheaply. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do it. And then I realized I didn't have a hotel room. So I posted in the author group of all these people that I now reconnected with, hey, I'm going to this conference, but I like to share a hotel room with a hotel room space. And almost immediately, someone commented on this post and said, you can room with, and it was Kirsten. And my, no, I didn't. Not really. No. I was so nervous for this. Like, oh my gosh, woman. I'm trying to impress this woman, and she wants me to stay in the same room as her. Oh. Okay, now you do.
Okay. So we meet at this conference and go upstairs to our room, and it takes us about 5 minutes in each other's presence to realize we've named our breasts the same thing but backwards.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
So when we hug, the same one is touching the same one.
All right.
And we just really hit it off after that.
Okay.
Ladies, I didn't know that was a thing.
And Okay, so I'm reading Rick's mind right now. He really wants to know, what are their names?
Well,
Thelma and Louise.
Oh my gosh.
goodness. Of course.
Yes. So now we hug and touch in our that makes us bosom buddies.
Yes. And we call each other that, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah, I don't think she was nervous around me after we realized that. It was all
That's a
downhill.
heck of an icebreaker right there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my
We got
goodness.
really close. That we were yes, we were able to really chat, really connect. Not just as authors, but as people and friends.
Yeah.
And then that was the same conference where y'all were putting together Rivers and Ranch, which is the contemporary.
Yes.
And I met the other 4 ladies that were involved, and about 2 weeks later, they invited me to be a part of it. That was my first contemporary experience. Nervous about that. But I really do feel that it was because I got to meet all of y'all in person, and also hug you.
That's perfect. And as long as you mentioned that, Carolyn, we actually wanted to just get a quick, a chat in about Wild West Wedding, because that's one of your books that we've done on audio. And I know it's been a while ago, but I love the Rivers End Ranch series. And so, I mean, this is a perfect time to just kind of open up the floor and say, gosh, are you going to write anymore?
I have no plans of writing more in that series. I think that series did really well for the what was going on when it was going on kind of thing. I waited about a year and I wrote another book that took place in that series, and it just never did quite as well. I think a lot of it had to do with the momentum and the excitement surrounding it. But that's not to say Kirsten and I won't write something else together down the road.
Will any plans for that, or is it just kind of something you're noodling?
We have something that's kind of in the works, and I've written a lot of books connected to it. And it would be after Calendar Girls, but
Okay.
in that same general area, and the same people would be involved, that kind of thing. But we just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Mostly me.
And again, it's a perfect segue into the whole Cauldron Valley series and universe that you guys have built out there. You guys, can you just tell us all about how Cauldron Valley started? Because every time I think of it, I just immediately lick 2 fingers and pop them in the air. So
Who came up with that one? I don't remember.
I'm sure it was you. But
Probably.
I really do. Yeah, I really do feel like that was. I don't remember, but we would get back and forth and come up with new superstitions and how to work it into the plot. Or somebody would just write the book with the superstition involved and then give it to the other one and be like, oh, that's a good one.
Well, and you guys were writing this during lockdown in 2020, so all the toilet paper jokes, I mean, just, our time immemorial now.
So as I recall, what happened was that we had talked a lot about doing a contemporary series together. And right at the beginning of lockdown was actually coincidentally when I started writing comedies, but I was writing historic comedies. So I was publishing these and they were doing well, but that was right around the time that I don't remember we reached out to each other and we said, this is the time. The world needs our humor right now. So we said, look, we've been talking about doing it. Let's do it right now. because that's what people want. They're going to want to laugh and enjoy themselves. And I don't remember. It was like a call we did to basically hash out the parameters of the town, but
And
just basically as silly as we could make it.
We're both really good at taking whatever nonsense the other has written and making it crazy. Because we can just play off each other. In real life, we play off each other, but in our writing, we play off each other.
Absolutely.
And that's so obvious because not only did you do Cauldron Valley, but then you spun the Calendar Girls out of that. So
that
came from a dream she had.
It did. Yes.
Oh, come on, tell the story.
I often have I call them Caroline dreams, where it's a dream that clearly my subconscious comes up with a plot, and I wake up and I hurry up and write down the plot, whether or not I'll ever get to use it or not. And at the time, we were talking about the possibility of closing up Cauldron Valley, although I'm not sure what. Maybe we had reached the end of like the natural plot or something like that, but we knew we weren't going to be done. We just needed to figure out what came next. And serendipitously, my subconscious came up with this idea of 12 adopted daughters, all named after the months of the year, and they were named the calendars. And of course, it's the old song, the Calendar Girls song, which was probably I heard it that day or something like that. So,
and we had to add in a Bob because Bob.
Yes, of course.
It wouldn't be Kirsten Osbourne if there wasn't a Bob somewhere. So
right.
So Kirsten, how long have you and Caroline been working together?
Since we met, 2016.
Okay.
The first series we wrote together came out in October of 2016.
Okay, so it's been a while. Did you? How was the process of writing together and writing stories that had to relate to each other? How did you find a level of consistency between your books?
Well, we brainstorm everything together, sort of. We made sure that each other got the books ahead of time. So, like, I'd write her characters, but they'd come out in my voice, not her voice. So she'd change stuff around, and that was fine. And then I'd do the same with her books. It was a concerted effort.
Yeah. I'm sure it's gotten easier as time has gone and the more books you've done.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps that we think alike, and not only do we think alike and write alike, but we are also really good teammates. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like I happily welcome her rewriting her characters, and she does the same. She's happy to I'll say, hey, 2 books from now, I want the plot to be XYZ, so I need you to start sprinkling in hints in this book. And she said, yeah, that's fine.
Interesting.
It's absolutely. And there are some people just don't like allowing other people to have that kind of control over their work, but she and I do very well together.
Yeah, we have a lot of respect for each other as writers, and it makes it really, really easy to just jump in and do what we've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. Well, and with over 300 books between the two of you, you've certainly been busy.
I would say so.
Well, before we let you go, people are going to want to know how to find you. So can you give me a couple of social media accounts or a website, Caroline?
My website is CarolineLeeRomance.com, and you can sign up for a newsletter there that'll give you a couple of free books. And I have a reader group on Facebook that is very active called Caroline's Cohort. So come find me there.
Okay.
Great.
Hey, Kirsten.
My website website is www.kirstenosbourne.com. And I have a group on Facebook as well. It's called Kirsten's Crazies, and crazy is spelled with a K.
Okay.
Sorry. That's such a great name.
And I'll make sure we get all these links on the website too. So when people are visiting Barr26, they can look you both up and make sure that they can find you in those places.
Indeed. All right. Well,
Sounds
ladies,
good.
thank you very much. It's been great talking to you, and we look forward to more.
Safe travels, Carolyn,
Awesome.
and thanks for joining us, Kristen.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year.